It's that time again. Week 15 nearly upon us. We're opening up our six-pack of NFL picks. Getting ready for week 15. Tons of news stories intertwined with these football games as well. Coming at you right now.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look at the NFL on the field and in the front office with elite breakdowns to next-level analysis and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Love our everydayers and appreciate all the new listeners hanging out with us every day here as we cover the National Football League throughout the season, into the postseason, and, of course, daily in the offseason as well. Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right. Six-pack time. We're through the portion of the season where there are bye weeks now. Getting into the nitty-gritty, we've got some playoff runs and some important games. Some big stories, though, coming down here as we record this episode on Wednesday here, approaching week 15. Of course, we're going to talk about the Thursday nighter as we always do in our six-pack, and the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. What's important there, but we got news on the Demarvion Overshown injury for the Cowboys, and it's brutal news. Just destroyed his knee, and we hope the best for his recovery. We'll get into the details of what that might look like. The Giants dumpster fire as an airplane red flying over the top of New Jersey, and a whole lot more in the six-pack. Let's get started, though, with that Thursday nighter, and it is the Los Angeles Rams coming off a massive win. These are going to be two probably pretty confident teams here in week 15, even though they have had up and down seasons. It's the 7-6 Rams at the 6-7 49ers, longtime rivals, and it's the Niners favored by 3 points at home here, even though they've got the worst record. But both these teams coming off big wins. Niners thumped the Bears at home, so they get to stay at home on the short week with the Rams, who beat probably the most fun game in last week's schedule, Matt, which was the Rams defeating the Bills 44-42. Stafford winning that shootout over Josh Allen. And so the 7-6 Rams, 6-7 Niners, both teams probably somewhat confident based on how the season has gone at this point. Niners favored by 3.
All right, so who are we expecting to be in and out of the Niners lineup here? I know it's a short week and huge game, and frankly, I think your division is the most interesting in all of football right now.
I think it's getting more interesting, and I think especially for the Rams, have a little bit more of an opportunity to maybe sneak in and get over the top of a team like Washington and get a wild card berth. So the wild card still isn't completely out of it. I'd be more shocked if the wild card came out of the South. So I think the South became the division where, okay, it's either the Bucks, who I'd bet on right now, or the Falcons, but the Falcons do have that tiebreaker. One of those two teams going to get in, as we've seen with the NFC South is kind of just what they've been. One team's going to win the division, then they'll be like the 4 seed, and then nobody else gets in. The Niners have an opportunity to squeak in a second team, but still they're likely everyone's aiming for the division title, because that's what it's going to take. And for the Rams, if they were able to knock off the Niners, two things happen here. First of all, as I put it with my guy Eric Crocker, the co-host of Locked On 49ers, if the 49ers lose Thursday night, it's mock draft Monday. Like the story's over for them. You don't have tiebreakers. You can't even tie at 9-8 and win out and still get in with the other 9-8 teams in the NFC West. You don't have enough division. You don't have enough conference wins, and teams with multiple game leads on you with only a few to play. So the Rams could really knock the 49ers out of playoff contention and then put themselves in a spot where they're a couple of games over 500 and have the opportunity to maybe squeak into the wild card conversation, even if they don't catch the Seahawks, who, by the way, Rams Seahawks week 18 could be a fun one. And as I painted the picture earlier this week after the games, the Rams still do control their own destiny. So with that game in week 18, if the Rams win out, that means they beat the Seahawks, and the Seahawks will have lost at least one more game, which will put them tied. and the Rams would have the tiebreaker in that case. So the Seahawks and Rams both control their own destiny. So it might come down to that Week 18 matchup for the West, especially if the Rams are able to knock off the Niners, and these teams don't just continue to take a step forward and take a step back, because that's what I was going to say about the Los Angeles Rams. Is this is a team, and I know you asked about the injury report and the
story. I was curious about Bosa and Trent Williams and some of those. Right.
The short story of the injury report is guys don't practice on short weeks hardly anyway.
It's really hard to know.
Nobody's practicing, and everyone's kind of like, we'll see, kind of, it's like Bosa, he's not going to practice. Can he go? It's a maybe. They actually seem like more optimistic about maybe getting Dre Greenlaw back for the 49ers defense here.
Interesting.
And which would be a huge boost. They got Talanoa Hufanga back last week, and it made a big difference. And these guys are fly around, and they really change how dynamic the 49ers defense can be, even though it's led by guys like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. And they showed enough against a really bad Bears offensive line without Bosa last week, which was a huge part of that win. But obviously, if you get Bosa back and you have Greenlaw, and Fred Warner is playing a little banged up, and you get Greenlaw back and Hufanga's out there, now you're talking about you're talking about a different defense, the kind of the defense they pictured coming into the year potentially, and that's a big deal. That's important for the 49ers. So if I had to guess, it's a doubtful situation for guys like Trent Williams and Nick Bosa, but might get Dre Greenlaw instead. But it's going to be hard to tell because nobody's going to practice this week on a short week, especially if they're banged up. And then Isaac Guerrero, I don't know how important it is who the running back is for a Kyle Shanahan offense. Isaac Guerrero looked good last week. He's got a sprained foot, and he's kind of day-to-day, and they're hoping he can go, and we'll see there. If not, it's Patrick Taylor Jr., and they just picked up Abanaconda. So they're still banged up, but they have an opportunity to get some guys back too, which could help that 49ers team. Again, confident. And for the Rams, they're a team that's just, Cooper Kupp's back, and Nakua's healthy, and man, look, this team's gonna be really good. And the next week, like, actually, they're kind of bad. And it's with the Rams, you just never know week to week. And they barely got by the 49ers. They were down 10 points in the fourth quarter of that game. It was really more of a 49ers blew it than the Rams won it, I think, last time they played. Kyle Shanahan's really had Sean McVay's number for the most part, especially in the regular season. And it's a short week. Rams are traveling. I don't know what to expect. It could be chaotic. Which Rams team shows up, which 49ers team shows up. I really have no idea, to be honest with you, Matt. And I cover this team as close as anybody.
Yeah, I get it. Both these teams were very impressive last week, and it's hard not to have that taste in your mouth, but I do think, I don't know. I was going to say what the Rams do in their passing game and offensively, and Kyren Williams is more sustainable, but I'm not sure that that's true. That's what I was kind of thinking all along. This is a tough one. I understand it's a short week division game on the road, but I kind of feel like this should be a pick'em game. That the Rams, when healthy, which they are offensively, I know their back seven's always, who knows what you're going to get. But when the offense is humming with Kupp, Nakua, and Stafford, when those three are on the field, their numbers are ridiculous. And I think they have a chance to win this game outright. So I'm definitely taking the points.
I think you do have to take the points here. And I took the points last week for the Bears, and the 49ers blew
it. I did too.
Right. And so that's I just do think the 49ers have like kind of just, it's the number skews in their favor a little bit. And if at game time you do have Bosa, you do have Trent Williams out there, Greenlaw's back, I think I might go a long way. Pick the Niners by 3, and I'd be fine with that. But yeah, like you said, short week, division matchup. You don't exactly know who's going to be out there yet at this point on Wednesday, and I think you have to take the points here with the Rams. But this game could go really any direction. I wouldn't be shocked by a close game. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like some special teams play with 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter that decides it. I wouldn't be shocked if the 49ers blew out the Rams, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams blew out the 49ers. So we'll find out. And if the 49ers want to keep the season alive, they got to win. They have to win. Playoff game for the 49ers. Rams have a little bit more wiggle room, but it's pretty important for them too right now, going down the stretch here in the NFC West.
100%. I'll take the Rams plus points.
I do hope everyone's healthy. Like, I want to see Kupp and Puka and Stafford and Bosa and Trent Williams. And, I want to see them all out there. That it's primetime game.
I think Bosa's key. Not that the other guys aren't. It's just Stafford under pressure is a little different than him being able to sit there and pat the ball,
Number one key to victory when I was doing the Locked On 49ers show, it's just Stafford will throw the ball to the other team at times. So you got to help him do that and then catch it when he does throw it to you.
Yep.
Numerous stories here around the NFL as we get through our 6-pack of picks for Week 15. Next, I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, Demarvion Overshown's injury. What the coaching change? The fans want change in New York. And Matt, you have a little insight on the Joe Burrow burglary.
I just have a theory,
You're involved. Let me say
that.
Yeah. But some stories entwined here in the NFL as we go through our 6-pack of picks for Week 15. Next. Today's episode, Peacock and Williamson, brought to you by Built Rewards. If you're a renter, listen up, because this is a total game changer. Thanks to Built, you can now earn points on rent payments, just like you do with, airline miles and perks. And when you're buying groceries or travel, paying rent now comes with serious perks, and it's completely free to join. Earn valuable Built points on your rent and everyday spending at no extra cost. Redeem points for flights, hotel stays, and even future rent payments. With over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels in their program, the possibilities are endless. A unique experience you can access, like exclusive Built member rewards. And so if you love using points for travel, Built makes it so easy. And start earning points back on your rent because you're paying it anyway, right? Join built.com/LockedOnNFL. That's joinbuilt.com, joinbilt.com/LockedOnNFL. Make sure you use our link so they know we sent you. Don't wait. Start earning rewards today. All right, here we go. I want to go to the Dallas Cowboys next.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are at the Carolina Panthers. Panthers have been, playing teams tougher. They're still a 3-10 football team right now, but this is a game that the Panthers could win. They're at home, and guess what? They're actually favored by...
I think it's the first time all year.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers are favored by 3.5 points against the Dallas Cowboys. And one of the reasons the Cowboys get dinged is because they lost one of their best defenders this year in Demarvion Overshown, which is unfortunate. You knew it was going to be kind of a bad injury, probably an ACL. And we do have some more specifics on this. And it's ACL, MCL, and PCL. It's the triple play for Demarvion Overshown's knee. It's clearly he's done for this year. And when you have a big injury like that in December, it starts to put your next season into question. And I want to go to Jordan Schultz, who had some more information on what the ideal scenario might look like for Demarvion Overshown. So apparently the ACL, PCL, MCL trifecta was torn, but there was no meniscus damage, and the articular surface looks good. So no nerve damage, no artery damage there, which is a good thing to go along with that injury. So now we're looking at ideal scenarios. The most ideal scenario, Jordan Schultz says, is that Overshown begins next season on the PUP list. And after a 9 to 10 month rehab, the hope of being activated sometime mid-season. So that best case scenario, Overshown makes it back mid-season, starts on the PUP list next year. So that's what we're talking about with a long rehab for Demarvion Overshown, which is unfortunately he's having a phenomenal year.
A phenomenal year. And it makes me wonder. I mean, it's probably a year-long injury, being conservative, maybe a little less, like you said. But, you won't have training camp, all that kind of stuff. And for a player, I mean, he's a lighter linebacker that relies on agility and change of direction and speed. You hate that it's a lower body injury, just for his style of play. And they kept harping on it on the Monday night broadcast. Parsons and Overshown are like the two young building blocks of this defense. And, now you're short one, and you created another need. So what was the spread in this game? 3.5?
2.5.
2.5. I was hoping
the Panthers were favored over the what is it? The 3-10 Panthers and the 5-8 Cowboys, the underdog Cowboys.
I think the Panthers deserve to be favored. It's weird to say those words, especially in their building, but they're playing quite well, and they took the Eagles to the wire. If this was 3.5, I was gladly going to take Dallas. They've great kicker. They're really good on special teams. They've done some better things on offense or running the football with some consistency finally. But at 2.5, I think I'm going to take the home team.
I'm going to take the Cowboys here just because I don't think the Panthers, I don't think you should be confident betting on the Panthers to do anything, even though they've looked a little bit better, because still looking a little bit better. Looks about like what the Cowboys have looked like with a backup quarterback anyway. and I'm not putting it on Bryce Young, but I will say that part of this line, which I don't think it's a bad line necessarily, but part of it is that you see Cooper Rush against the Bengals on Monday Night Football, and look, it's a short week now, and they're on the road, so that bodes well for the Panthers and why they're favored in this game. But you see why Cooper Rush is backup quarterback. Some throws are like, okay, he's not Dak Prescott, right? But you still have Parsons out there. CeeDee Lamb is banged up as well, but it looks like he's going to play, right? Am I seeing the right?
I think so.
Yeah. He's kind of been in that zone a lot this year. So the Cowboys are still, I think, a better team. And obviously, I think Mike McCarthy might be playing for his job. And we're going to talk about some coaching stuff here in a minute with Bill Belichick. Maybe the Cowboys are part of that conversation as well. But I'm going to take the Cowboys here and take some points. You're getting points against the Carolina Panthers.
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
I just don't love the short week on the road either.
Yeah. No, I get it. And there's a reason the Panthers are favored here, but I just can't quite get there yet. Love what I'm seeing from young Bryce Young. And I mean, huge. Yeah. At this point, you don't need to have the number one pick in the draft. Building on winning some games and finding what's working for you and confidence for young quarterback, way more important. So go win some games, Carolina Panthers.
And it's not terrible. You take the Eagles to the wire and you don't win,
Right. And it's not the worst if you don't end up finishing that job. Right.
Mm-hmm. You can hang though,
but it would be, seriously, it would be better. Like you want to see the throw being made by Young. You want to see Xavier Legette bring the ball in, be like, okay, we can do this. We can make plays to win football games in the NFL. Find the guys who can do that for you down the stretch here for the Carolina Panthers. Which brings us to a team that probably does need to lose games, and you're not helping yourself by winning a lot of games if you're the New York Giants. And I don't know if you saw this story, Matt, but there was an airplane flying over New Jersey, and it said, I'm not word for word here on it, but it said, Mr. Mara, please fix this dumpster fire, talking about the New York Giants and their situation. And Malik Neighbors was asked about it, and he had to be like, oh, no, I didn't pay for that plane, as if he would have. Like that's where a player has to tell the media that he didn't pay for a pilot to fly over the stadium that says fix this dumpster fire, right? So that's
where we're at now. Yeah,
pretty damning situation for an owner that threw some support behind his coach and GM much earlier in the season. And a lot of times, I mean, I would say it's better 50% chance if your owner says, oh, these guys are safe, that they're unsafe. To be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. That's
a lot of cases in NFL history because the fact that you're being asked that question. And so this ties into a conversation with Bill Belichick and the North Carolina college football head coaching job. Let's make our pick here for the game, which is Ravens at Giants. And obviously we know the Ravens are going to be favored, but 14.5 points on the road is what the Baltimore Ravens are favored right now. Let's talk about that line and make our picks. And then let's talk about the coaching situation here. And I still like Bill Belichick for this job. I got to be honest.
I do too. And so I'm going to take the Ravens. I know it's a massive line. It's just, I think that they can figure some things out on the bye, fresh, come off the bye. It just seems like a very Ravens offense thing to do, to drop like 40 points, and Derrick Henry has 200 yards in this game, and Lamar's back in the MVP conversation. Just seems like they're somewhat of a sleeping giant. So I will lay those points. Let's get your pick, and then I want to talk a little bit about Belichick.
I'm going to do the tasty home dog, 14.5. I mean, the Giants can lose by 2 touchdowns and still win that bet, right? And so, and they're still an NFL football team, even if things aren't going great. They do have some talent up front to maybe slow down the Ravens offense to the point where they're still winning the game handily, but they're also kind of just handing it off over and over, and the game gets shortened, and it's a 10-point win instead of a 3-touchdown win. So that's why I'm going to take the points, just because it's a lot of points. In fact, 14.5 is the biggest line this year that I can remember.
Is it really? I was wondering that, actually.
I know there was some 13.5s, and there was some that were flirting with 2 touchdowns, but over 2 touchdowns, 14.5. I'm going to take the home dog here. Just with the historical NFL, you're at home, 14.5 is a lot of points. And now,
it screams backdoor cover.
And the last time there was the biggest line, and it was the Lions, and I was like, oh, they're going to, was it Jags Lions? And they just beat the hell.
And they beat them by like 50.
Yeah. So, and that could obviously happen here at the Ravens, and that's why you're picking on that side. I'm going to go the other way and think this game gets a little shortened, and
I'm hoping Vegas thinks this is going to be 50-0, but we just don't know how big a line to make people bet on the Giants.
Right. Yeah.
What's
exactly.
the magic number to make people?
That's what they're telling you when it's 14.5. It's like, we have to make it this big or else nobody's going to bet on the Giants.
No. Real quick on Belichick.
Hold on. Let's wait on
that. Go.
I want to tie in Belichick with a couple of things because I want to talk about the news of him interviewing for the North Carolina job. I like him for the New York Giants job. What about the other team in New York, the Jets that are going to need a head coach? What about the Jaguars who are playing the Jets this week? The Dallas Cowboys. I mean, there's a lot of different storylines intertwined here as it pertains to, I think, what's going to be a big offseason domino and where Bill Belichick coaches. So let's get into that conversation next. This episode of Peacock and Williamson brought to you by IceShaker. And IceShaker makes high quality, to me, the highest quality workout bottles I have seen. I was actually really surprised when I saw the IceShaker that showed up. It was a 49ers logo, 4D. They've got some minimal designs, some less minimal designs, some packages where you can go workout bottle plus water bottle. And if you're like me, your holiday shopping list is nowhere near complete. So if that's the case, you've got the perfect gift for the passionate sports fans in your life. And perhaps you've heard of IceShaker. IceShaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, tons of other sports, NBA, NHL, NCAA, Major League Baseball. Makes the ideal gift for a sports fan, especially one that likes to work out a little bit. And it's created by the Gronkowski brothers. IceShaker sold over 1 million bottles. We have changed the game with workout bottles. We're talking kitchen-grade stainless steel bottles that won't absorb odor like plastic bottles do. A patented twist-in agitator, breaks up powders, but is silent, unlike the whole metal ball thing, right? And customizable. You can actually get your favorite football team, baseball team, basketball team, whatever logo on there. There's a custom shop as well, so you can get custom logos. So, and it wouldn't be a locked-on deal if you didn't get a little percentage off, right? So use our code LOCKEDONNFL for 25% off your order at IceShakers. So order your team branded bottles today. Get 25% off with code LOCKEDONNFL at IceShakers. Show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. IceShakers.
So BP, while you were talking about these wonderful IceShakers, here we go. The Steeler one right there. My phone blew up. That I just want to be completely transparent with you. DeVito is going to be the starter for the Giants. So if you want to get out of your pick or change it, they are going with DeVito. Yeah.
The last DeVito game, the Giants had like 35 yards of offense, right?
Right.
You know what I'll do? I guess we can't do this, but I wouldn't be shocked if real time the line changes, because that was up. The line I'm looking at was updated before that news, and if it keeps, I don't know how much bigger than 14.5 points it can go, but
I'm smelling a blowout.
Yeah, it does smell like a stinking blowout there, doesn't it? I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with my pick.
All right. I can gain a game on you, maybe.
Yeah, you might. And you know what? Because that Lions game I referenced from a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm not gonna pick bad teams anymore. I don't care what the line is, because I was so frustrated because I got beat by a few of those.
And then you just took the worst team in the
league. I don't want you to gain on me. I got to flip. This is more strategic than anything, because we're.
I had to tell you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Look, to be honest with you, Drew Lock wasn't going to go out and beat the Ravens.
Probably not, but it gives them a better chance to score points at least.
The fact that they're flip-flopping at quarterback, pick a guy.
What did that accomplish? Right,
and fire everybody. So that's where we're at. That's a perfect tie-in. So yeah, I'm changing my pick. Give me the Ravens to blow out the DeVito-led New York Giants, and who knows, maybe Brian Daboll's fired too. I don't like the wishy-washiness there. I think unless it was the only way that Joe Shane is safe for me is if it was ownership and solely ownership's call on Daniel Jones because we've been talking about Daniel Jones since before he signed his latest contract. And like, you and I are not at all shocked about the way things have gone at quarterback and how things have gone for the New York Giants right now. And they had no plan in place. DeVito and Drew Lock behind him was not the plan. It's almost worse than what they did with Daniel Jones and signings. At least they could have given a look to Daniel Jones while they were doing something else. They did nothing else. They had no young talented player that they thought might take the job from him. No veteran player. They just had a 1, 2, 3 acting like Jones was going to be a star quarterback for them. So yeah, I have a big problem with how everything has gone there. A plane flies over that says, "Fix this dumpster fire."
Playing Sunday is going to be hire Belichick.
Is Bill Belichick going to go coach in college? I don't picture him as a college type of guy, especially in the NIL era. Or maybe NIL just makes it more like it's pro.
I think it makes it more pro.
Yeah, so maybe it's better for Belichick then because he can spend free agent dollars rather than recruit. I
have some theories on this. So the Williamson family this summer took a trip to the beach down in North Carolina, and we did an informal. Both my kids are in high school, and my son's going to college next year. We did an informal East Coast college trip on the way home. We went to University of South Carolina, NC State, Virginia Tech, up in Coastal Carolina, East Carolina. We went to Chapel Hill as well. It is beautiful. I mean, I don't think my son's going to get in there, but he would go in a heartbeat. It's a hard school to get into. He's not getting in. But anyway, it was beautiful. And we even played against those guys like when I was at Pitt, and they had like Julius Peppers, and they could always recruit, and they were like the prettiest team coming off the bus, but they were always soft. Like kids want to go there, and it's a good area to get kids. If you had Belichick, I think you could own the ACC in like 2 or 3 years, and frankly, I think he'd be a great recruiter. He doesn't even have to do anything. Just show his Super Bowl rings, I mean, in the NIL world, I think he'd be phenomenal. Plus that university has a lot of money. I mean, of course it's a basketball school, but Michael Jordan, they have some great money.
The basketball money could kind of spill out of the pool a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty for the football program as well. The question I would have,
some great alumni too. Lawrence Taylor, all the way to Drake May. I think that could be a great program. But I got 2 theories on it, real quick. I think he could just relax. He could Saban it up there forever.
Yeah,
and semi-retire, hire coordinators to do everything. He's old, but I also think this might be a ploy to say, "Hey, Giants or Jags, you better make your mind up now because I can take this job like any second."
I like that angle. I think I think it's just him saying, "I'm taking interviews and I'm going to coach this year." And quick reminder, I can't interview for these NFL jobs quite yet, but you better get in line and you better start making those plans right real quick because, so a birdie told me, and this isn't like something that I'm going to report or anything like that because it was like a birdie that told a birdie that told me that
You're
the Giants,
Adam Schefter here,
right? That the Giants wouldn't hire Bill Belichick for whatever reason. I don't know what that reason might be. The Jets and Jags are playing, by the way. We can make that pick and finish up our 6-pack here. The Jets are favored on the road at the Jaguars by 3.5 points, by the way. But the Jaguars would be a great fit. What about the New York Jets? They would seem to be a great fit there in New York. Bill Belichick had that job for 5 minutes at one point. I don't know if there was a bridge that was burnt there. I don't even know why
he seems to hate that organization.
I
think he has no respect for the ownership.
Like, did they do him dirty after they had a handshake and then they went to sign stuff and like what?
We played against them twice a year forever,
and then then he gets a job in the division, is beating up on them for decades. So, but like you would at least try to interview him if you're the Jets, right? Keep him away from the other team in New York, or I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. Something from. I don't think he wants anything to do with that organization. Just doesn't have any respect for it.
I mean, and like the birdie that told me the Giants thing, I don't know why. He used to coach there. I mean, if you're not interested in hiring Bill Belichick, if you're the Giants, then what are you doing?
And then what are you doing? Right. Same with the Jags to me. Just restructure our organization from the top down to the guy that mops the floors. I mean, everything about it. But I also have a side theory that maybe Bill knows there is an NFL job for him, that none of these owners are willing to hand him the total keys to the car at his age. Like there might not be one for him.
Well, and you look at, the Chicago Bears, you got to throw them out there as well. Mm-hmm. If any of these teams don't even want to interview him and they don't want to give him, and maybe he feels burnt from last offseason that teams weren't just knocking down his door to bring him in then. And maybe he wants to say, all right, screw the NFL, I'm going to go to college and go win some national titles or whatever. The Jets, the Jaguars, the Bears, the Giants, and those ownership has been questioned a lot in some of those places, right? And so if you're Bill Belichick, you're like, I don't want to play for any of these owners. Maybe that is part of it.
Here's a weird one. Raiders with Brady?
Yeah. So
It doesn't seem like a fit at all. Personality, like Belichick in Vegas, wearing
It's
black and
longer
silver.
term. Like I like him in the Giants because there's some Giants history there. It's not. They've got some defensive pieces. I could see him getting it righter quicker with a veteran quarterback, or and then drafting and developing some guys. Obviously, the Bears and the Jaguars already have a young quarterback that could be a part of something that would be pretty enticing for an older coach that doesn't want to try to go, because he saw how hard it was to go find a quarterback after Brady too.
Right.
And so I don't know if he wants to go through that. And he would have to go through that with Brady in Las Vegas, which would be fascinating. And look, isn't Belichick dating like a 20-something-year-old woman right now?
Surely, yeah.
Maybe the Las Vegas life is what he's looking for. I don't know. But I could
can't blame him.
I could paint a picture for him to be the coach of any of those teams, and I would bet on any of them over North Carolina, I think is my final point.
I think so too. I think he'll be in the NFL, and I think all those teams are insane if they don't interview him and seriously consider it. I guess I have to pick this Jets-Jags game. I'll take the Jets. But the Jags just won, but I'll take the Jets.
Yeah, no Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to take the Jets.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're favored on the road here. I hate both these teams right now.
Right.
Fun to watch, but come on, Aaron Rodgers, you got to show us something here. And
so that win, the Jags went from the first overall pick to the 9th with tiebreakers.
Every team in the league has they're either like right around 500 or they have 3 wins.
Yeah.
It's insane. So both teams need to lose, to be honest with you, especially the Jaguars probably. But actually, well, yeah, I don't know.
They're both terrible.
Yeah,
I hate both these teams, like you said.
Bad game. I'm with you. I'm going to take the Jets on that one. We had teased the Joe Burrow getting burgled. Do you want to finish up there with the Bengals pick? And if you're counting at home, we're not going to hit 6 games in our 6-pack here, but the Bengals are at the Tennessee Titans. Bengals favored by 5 points, and Joe Burrow's house got broken into.
I'll take the Bengals. I don't think they fixed their defense or anything like that, but I do think that the Chase Burrow connection is ridiculous right now and is going to score a ton of points, and I don't know that Tennessee can keep up. So I heard something about his house did get burglarized, and they didn't take the Batmobile, or he doesn't have it yet, so don't worry about that. And I guess that there's like a mandate that they've been telling NFL players. There's some crime syndicate. I'm kind of making this up. That are kind of like, I just heard this headlines that are targeting NFL players. And why I wanted to bring it up is, like, when I got hired with the Browns, no one's from Cleveland that's a player or scout or whatever. So the teams have these services. They're like, you can live wherever you want, of course, but if you want to live at the Polo Club, we can get you like 50% off. It's not as nice as it sounds, but it was a fine apartment for me. My wife was back in Pittsburgh. She had a good job. It would see each other on weekends. So I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely take that. Or if they brought someone on the practice squad, they were at the Polo Club, but there's real estate agents and all these people that help these guys. Like Courtney Brown lived 2 doors away from Butch Davis, like everybody lived in the same neighborhoods, it's almost like Goodfellas. And I just wonder, they probably all the same security system people, like there's someone on the inside that's like leaking information. I'm trying to think like a master criminal here,
Right. Well, and this was what happened with the unfortunate incident with Taylor, right, in Washington. And he was home when they thought he wasn't going to be home when he was burglarized.
Oh, Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
Right.
And died. The players have all this money and all this stuff and are never home.
And then they know when you're not home. I think he got burglarized when he was playing Monday Night Football.
Yeah, exactly.
They know he's not going to be there.
5 p.m. on Monday,
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's a scary thing for the players' families and the wives, and like I hate that. And there needs to be a strong investigation. I didn't even think like mine didn't even go there. I would never thought, but like it makes perfect sense, right? You want to target someone who has a lot of money, and you know where they're not going to be to protect.
Yeah. Now, even in the past, my wife said, "Don't tell people you're going to the Senior Bowl. They know I'm home alone." I'm like, "Well, I kind of have to on the air,
pretty easily. I don't know. They might go to Courtney Brown's house or Butch Davis's house,
right? There's a lot more valuables there than here. Trust me.
I am also going to take the Bengals in that game.
Okay,
there you go.
All right,
it's back. We talked more about other stuff than the actual games, but that's where we are right now today in the NFL. Let us know what your picks are, what you think. Get your questions in for this week's mailbag at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Back tomorrow, right here. Peacock and Williamson.